Support for this podcast comes from listeners and St. Alphonsus Health System, a regional network of hospitals, clinics, and care providers. St. Alphonsus offers comprehensive healthcare services to individuals and families throughout the community. More information about services and locations is available at stalphonsus.org.
From Boise State Public Radio, this is The Connector, Idaho's daily news. Good morning, I'm James Dawson. It's Tuesday, October 21st, and here are today's headlines. Of course, we're following the latest on a raid on an alleged horse gambling ring in Wilder and the simultaneous ICE presence. Idaho Republican leaders are asking for a federal briefing on the Qatari military training at Mountain Home, and 3,000 rainbow trout are dead after a highway accident. These stories and more coming up. Questions remain about a law enforcement raid in Wilder Sunday afternoon that included ICE agents. Jamie Geary was on the ground yesterday where activists were pressing for answers.
The FBI says they arrested 4 men accused of participating in illegal horse betting. But the gambling bust was carried out by 200 federal, state, and local agents. Lawyer Nikki Ramirez-Smith arrived at the raid as arrests were being made. It happened during a family event at the horse track.
Families were separated, children were left terrified. These are the same individuals who wake up before sunrise and work until sundown, and the people who make the state's economy run.
She says children have since been released, but people are still detained based on their legal status. Activist Jackie Vasquez says the scene reflects a broken system.
Everyone that was there was detained, U.S. citizen or not. Eventually, it was over an hour that we were there that we could not get answers on what happened to the children and where the children were.
The FBI was scheduled to hold a press conference to answer questions about the raid, but as crowds gathered outside the Canyon County Administrator's office in Caldwell, that press conference was abruptly canceled. Jamie Geary, Boise State Public Radio News.
Governor Brad Little and most of Idaho's congressional delegation say the federal government didn't give them a heads up on a deal to train Qatari Air Force personnel at Mountain Home Air Force Base. In a letter to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Little, Senators Mike Crapo and Jim Risch, and Representative Mike Simpson requested a briefing on the deal. They wrote that such a briefing is necessary to keep constituents and state lawmakers informed on the issue. Specifically, the group wants to know how sensitive technology at the base will be safeguarded, how many Qatari personnel will be involved, and how they will be vetted. Any such briefing, they say, must take place in Boise. Idaho Attorney General Raul Labrador is asking a federal judge to let the state once again ban transgender people from changing the sex listed on their birth certificates. Labrador filed the motion earlier this month, saying new U.S. Supreme Court decisions have changed the legal landscape in Idaho's favor to lift the ban. He says birth certificates are official documents that must accurately reflect a person's sex assigned at birth and shouldn't be altered based on a person's, quote, ideology. Judge Candy Dale twice sided with transgender plaintiffs in 2018 and 2020, permanently blocking the state from enforcing such a ban. She said the policy and a later law both unconstitutionally and categorically targeted trans people. As the government shutdown drags to nearly 3 weeks, national parks are still being propped open, but they're not collecting entrance fees. As the Mountain West News Bureau's Rachel Cohen reports, concerns are growing about the long-term consequences.
The Trump administration is keeping parks open using recreation fees collected at entrances or campgrounds before the shutdown began. That pool of money is covering basic services like trash pickup and restrooms. But Emily Dowse with the National Parks Conservation Association says that's not what those funds are for.
They are for restoring campgrounds or restoring trails or doing deferred maintenance on facilities. That was what they're intended for.
The Government Accountability Office found it was illegal to use those fee dollars to keep parks running during the 2018-2019 shutdown. And Dowse worries draining these funds now could put future projects and maintenance at risk. Her organization estimates it could be costing $1 million a day to keep parks running this way. For the Mountain West News Bureau, I'm Rachel Cohen.
California is leading the West toward a new way of moving electricity. For decades, Western utilities have mostly worked alone, running power through complicated contracts. That can leave some clean energy stranded when it's needed most. A new California law gives states a chance to link up in a regional energy market. The idea? share wind and solar more efficiently, and avoid blackouts during heat waves or winter storms. Brian Turner from the advocacy group Advanced Energy United says wider cooperation could pay off.
Being able to trade over a broader area and bring that diversity of loads and resources is where we see the greatest benefit, both in consumer cost, savings, reliability.
Turner says if it succeeds, the West could finally shift from scattered utilities to a more connected grid. And an Idaho Fish and Game truck carrying 3,000 rainbow trout overturned in north-central Idaho late last week. The driver lost control of the truck and overturned on Highway 8 near Beauville, killing all the fish aboard. The driver sustained minor injuries. They were on their way to Stock Elk Creek Reservoir near Elk River. Fish and Game says it will adjust its stocking schedule in the Clearwater region to ensure at least some trout make it to the reservoir. And that's today's episode of The Connector. I'm James Dawson, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. To stay in touch with the news between now and then, you can check out BoiseStatePublicRadio.org or download the free Boise State Public Radio app. Thanks for listening.
Sources and methods, the crown jewels of the intelligence community. Shorthand for how do we know what's real? Who told us? If you have those answers, you're on the inside, and NPR wants to bring you there. From the Pentagon to the State Department to spy agencies, listen to understand what's really happening and what it means for you. Sources and Methods, the new national security podcast from NPR.